Welcome to Shades of Spirit. I'm Psychic Medium Jamie.
And I'm Spiritwalker Nicole. Good morning.
I'm excited because we are on week 2 of our 30-day Sacred September Challenge. So my first question goes out to everybody. How did you do for days 1 through 7? Because the way that we have orchestrated this is that we have broken down one simple way for you to connect within your higher self, to connect with Source, to connect with Mother Nature, with the universe. And it allows ourselves to start to be able to come back into our physical bodies and realign ourselves and find that sacred you within. And I know with last week, we had, some of the basics, but we want to get more involved, more deeper into what it is that we want to create within ourselves to be able to find that. So I love this. Did you do all 7 days?
Absolutely.
Twice. Twice. Yeah, we'll see. She probably missed day 3 and 5. Hey, so what happens if you miss a day? Did you ruin the whole month?
Nope.
Not at all, right? It's forgiving yourself. And that's the common thread throughout this episode and throughout this month is self-forgiveness. And so if you missed a day here or there, that's okay, because guess what? They're such small tasks because we are so busy that what we can do is that we can do it at a different time. It doesn't have to be that you can't do more than one, right, on a day. If you feel like doing all of 1 through 7 again on a Sunday and just to bring it all back into harmony with yourself, then please do that. I love it because it's something that you and your family can connect to as well. And that's what's exciting for me, is to get our kids, to get our spouses, if you live with your parents, even have them do it. So print out the calendar that's posted on our Facebook page, Shades of Spirit LLC, and put it on your fridge or put it on your bathroom mirror, or I don't care, put one in your car, put one in your purse, print multiple out. But open that up. And I really urge you guys, after now we've been through days 1 through 7, to start crossing off what you've done, but not to the point where you can't see it, because I want you to be able to go back. But I want you to have that sense of accomplishment, which is something very big for us list makers. Is Virgos, not just Virgos. But I like to be able to have my list and then cross off what I've done so I can see it visually and have that accomplishment feeling when I get done, and just the satisfaction of being like, cool, check that off. But I still want you guys to revisit those days when you can, because it starts to become part of our daily routines. And it becomes that awareness that we've been looking for, because a lot of us have been feeling, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, stuck. And it's allowing us to shift that energy up and out. So I know for me, I have, on one of these, it's going to be breathe. Just breathe. And there's those days where I just forget to do that. And just seeing that. And even if you take, okay, guys, I like Post-its, as you all can see, they're, all over the place for us. But even if you wrote the topic or the word of the day in our 30-day Sacred September Challenge, and you stuck a couple of them around the house for yourself or for your family, that gives you the opportunity to continue to connect. And that's what's most important. And who should we be connecting with, Spiritwalker Nicole?
Yourselves, number one, and then your spirit team. They're always out there ready for you to connect with them, and they know your plan, they know why you're here, they're ready to help, so they're always available. So, but yeah, we seem to have sort of lost ourselves during this virus. And I don't know, I've noticed people just behaving differently and saying things that they wouldn't normally say as these months drag on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's important to kind of like, okay, that go within, reconnect with yourself, your mind, your body, your soul, get it together, and then we'll get out of this.
And connect with your spirit team. They're up there waiting. Allow them to go through this process with you. Now, one of these days it is connecting with your spirit guide, right? But that doesn't mean leave the other 29 days to where you don't connect on some level with your spirit team or your angels or your higher self, because it's all about that commitment that we're doing to be able to improve our own lives first. And when we can improve our own lives, then we can be, so much better for those around us that also need us. So today we're talking about days 7 through 14, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about 7, 8, and 9.
Okay.
Okay. So let's start off with day 7, right? That's today. You're going to listen to the show and you're going to be like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready. And I love this. What did you pick for this one?
I call it feel a memory. And what I mean by that is I want you to find a picture that brings you happiness and joy. Don't pick some sad memory, but pick something that can like you can hold in your hand, sit down with for like 3 to 5 minutes and put yourself back in that spot, with the people or the place or whatever it was that made you feel that way. And close your eyes and just remember that. Because so often we do pass the pictures and we kind of think about it, but I mean, there's something tangible about holding it and then closing your eyes and then sort of almost transporting yourself back to that time that brought you that happiness, and you start to feel that, and then you remember things that maybe you didn't remember. Like, think about, what did that place sound like and smell like? Who were the people there? What you guys eat? Like, whatever it is, don't just kind of look at a picture and go, oh yeah, that was fun. Connect with it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you connect with a part of yourself that was joyful at that time.
And that's a big part. And the person can be past or present. It doesn't have to be a past loved one. It could be something that you did last summer, and how much fun you had. And that raises your vibration. And that's the point of this sacred September challenge, is to take each day and raise our vibrations up a notch and then up a notch higher, right? Because when we can stay in that vibration, we bring so much to us energetically, even physically. We manifest faster. So I love the second one, pay a compliment to a stranger, AKA
Spread kindness.
spread kindness. And this one got me. So Spiritwalker Nicole and I worked with our guides, and for the 30 days, we both came up with things that they were bringing to us to be able to do to help that connection process. And what I've noticed is that when I'm in the grocery store, honestly, I don't go really anywhere else but the grocery store. Um, you can feel the energy of the people around you. And when COVID started, I was thinking this, and Nicole came home and said, okay, I want to put flyers on how many houses, 80, 90 houses in our neighborhood, asking or letting them know that we're here if they need anything, because we do live in an older community and they can't be out right now. And I said, oh, I love that, because I was actually going to say, let's make some flyers and go put them out on the doors. So she and her mom actually went out and blanketed our neighborhood in 2 days at night and just posted them on the doors. And we started getting some phone calls. And not all of them were people that needed help, but it was people appreciating the fact that we were looking out for our neighbors and for those around us. And it still gets me to that emotional level, because we have one gentleman who lives around the corner from us. He's 94. He actually turns 95 in August. And he is every Friday morning at 9 a.m. And the thing that he is teaching me is how precious life is and how important it is to listen to their stories and to listen to just anyone, not somebody that's in their 90s. And his one comment about a month ago was, are you sure you want to still do this? And I'm like, I'm here for you, Maurice. I'm here for you. And he said, I want you to know how much I appreciate this simple act. We don't ask for anything in return. All we ask is for him to be there every day, to open that door on Fridays. And he goes, I am by myself. His children are older as well. They've had some health issues, so they haven't been able to see him. So I'm the only contact, and Spiritwalker Nicole and her mom are the only contact this gentleman has once a week. And it's short lived. And it's funny because when he's done with us, he's like, all right, peace out. Thanks for coming, Jamie. Ding. But that's what he needs. And so we took him a cake for his birthday because he's 95 and his kids can't be there for him. Those little things. If you're in, the grocery store, instead of looking down, I know we all have these masks on, right? I'm making a conscious effort to look at those people walking by and saying hello. And it's catching people off guard. Have you noticed that when you're out, that if you actually look up and make eye contact and say hello, that it catches people off guard and they don't quite know how to react. And all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, that's right. We could still say hello to one another, even though we have these masks on. So it's lifting that veil and being connected again and spreading that kindness as well.
Yeah. And even at the store, it's like we're so now the 6 feet apart. That doesn't mean you can't say something. It doesn't mean you can't pay them a compliment. It doesn't mean you can't, like, if you're in the drive, and I'm not saying this has to cost you any money. That's not what the sacred journey here that we're doing in September is about. But like, if you are in the line at Starbucks, you can pay for somebody behind you if you want. It's that, just that thoughtfulness, that spreading kindness that we're sort of getting away from because we're just so isolated. And so it's kind of like extending that hand, telling somebody that they look nice or you like their hair, whatever it is, and just making that connection. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you do that and you spread that kindness, you make them feel good, you make you feel good.
And I love for day 9. Okay. So 7 was feel a memory. 8 was pay a compliment to a stranger, spread kindness. Now, day 9, I like, you came up with this one.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah, it's literally smell a rose, smell a flower. And that goes back to one of Maurice's things. Our neighbor that she was talking about has a beautiful rose garden. And he likes, for that one day a week that he gets to have human contact, he likes to take us out to his roses and just smell them. And it doesn't have to be a rose, it can be anything, but you guys get the point. It's like, just take that minute, smell that, like take in that beauty of the nature of whatever it is, and be with yourself in that moment and just remember what it's like to be alive. And I mean, this literally would take what, 5 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
but it could just affect your whole day. Slow down and just take a moment for yourself.
And that's, something that it's in scientific studies is that your sense of smell and what that triggers in your brain, right? So we do work with essential oils as well. So it's about, using them on your skin, or you can ingest them if you're with the right brand. So make sure you read the bottles, just don't go out drinking essential oils. There's certain kinds that are ingestible, but it's the smell aspect of it. So I know right now there's actually baking going on in the kitchen. And so that's wafting in here. And what that's doing is it's actually connecting me on a level of peace and tranquility, because for me that is my outlet, is to cook. It also brings me to a space of remembering how it is with my grandmother when she was alive. So it doesn't have to just be, like she said, that flower. It could be anything that brings you happiness and joy. It can be lavender essential oils are great for calming, or orange to uplift your mood. Whatever catches your fancy, it goes directly to those receptors in your brain and causes that emotion and that feeling to go. So, coming up in our next segment, it will be days 10, 11, 12, with more tips on how to create that sacred self. And we will be back in a moment to be able to go over those, because I can't wait for the next 3. Yay! All right, you guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Psychic Medium Jamie.
And Spiritwalker Nicole.
We are doing the 30 days to your sacred self here in September. And I chose this topic for this month because we rotate back and forth on the topics that we pick each month. Because it's my birthday month. So, yay, Virgos.
So she made it sacred. She made the entire month of September sacred.
Sacred for me, folks. Sacred for me. It's about that connection process, though. And as you come into your birthday or your birthday month, it does make you reflect. So, for me, it's not about reflecting at New Year's, and writing out those New Year's, resolutions. I look at it from the standpoint of, oh crap, I'm another year older. What have I accomplished? What's going on? Do I feel organized? I have all these questions that start to arise, right? And I wanted to create a time to where I could do this for myself now from here on out. And I urge you guys to do something similar, because when we bring it around the time of our birth and that new beginnings, right, from day one, back to Earth School we go, Nicole. Here we are. And all the lessons that we have to learn, we'll learn in addition to what it is that we decided with our spirit team we would manifest, we would create, we wanted to learn. I got to have some time to do some self-reflection. I need that sacred time to go inward, connect with my spirit team, my higher self, source, to connect with my loved ones and my friends on a different level, and pretty much just slow the F down, people. Like, that's where it is for me for this month, right? Because it's constantly go, 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 go. Even in COVID and quarantine, this never turns off, and it starts to wear us down. It starts to bring our energy vibration down. We start to become agitated. We might, get triggered easily with anger emotions and be like, where the hell did that come from? Because we're not taking that time for ourselves. So if you do anything take the month of your own birthday, right? And celebrate you and creating that elevation and energy. And that's what we're doing this month is that we're working with you through our spirit teams and our angels on guidance on how each of us can achieve that. So these are just our ideas that have been channeled through our spirit teams. Create your own, which I love. So that calendar that you have that we have, put out for the 30 days to the sacred September pretty much challenge, make your own, like put one next to it. And so things that resonate with you, write them in for that calendar. And it doesn't have to be your birth month. It could be something you do as a family. So I know for us at times when my kids were little, we would have things on a board, kind of like wish lists or bucket list, if you will, and collaborate, but more on that higher self aspect of it. So, like, we're going to all go take a walk every Monday and we're going to schedule that time in. Well, that's a sacred time together, right? It isn't always the most pleasant. You might get Timmy over here screaming, and Sally doesn't want to walk anymore, and the dog just got out, right? But you know what? If you did it every day that month, you could cross it off and feel accomplished because by the end, you guys have made stories that you will laugh at. It may not be funny in the moment. And I know this because with my kids, I've had all of these things happen. But now I can laugh about it. And laughing raises our vibration up. That takes me to the next part. So for day 10, I want you guys to find a spiritual article to read. So, Spiritwalker Nicole, explain what that means. What's a spirit article?
A spirit article is like anything that catches your eye that you're drawn to in a spiritual sense. It could be about anything, crystals. It could be about pendulums. It could be about guides. It could be about your higher self. It could be about soul connection, whatever it is. And there's so many different places to find these. You can Google, spiritual articles. You can find links in Instagram and Facebook. On just there's a million ways to find it free. And, even if you don't believe every single word you read, there might be something in there that resonates with you, that maybe awakens something or just triggers that, I wonder. And that's the goal here, is to kind of expand your mind and maybe read something that you wouldn't normally because you're, busy with other things, but just something that just sparks something.
And I would love to read a lot. We have books everywhere. And I do a lot of skim reading to get the gist. I will get the ideas through Spirit, and then they have me directed to certain books to get more knowledge, to get more perspectives, because it's all about perspectives and putting them all together with what resonates with me and my connection with my team when I teach my workshops. But I do have a spiritual magazine that I picked up at Barnes and Noble actually just a few days ago. And it caught my attention was the top part says spirituality. And that talks about your health, like combining that together. And I thought, okay, that's cool. I already like two words that are on the front of this cover, right? And then as I went through, the next part was the soul body connection. And I'm like, well, heck, that's what I'm doing for September. That's going to be the topic. That's what I want to work with our mediumship clients and, just workshops that we're doing. Our Release and Intentions workshop is going to be on the new moon again this month. And it's going to be extremely powerful because we're going to start coming into the double full moon in October and the harvest moon. And so things are going to start ramping up for us energetically. And I was like, yes, I love that soul body connection. That's where we're at. It's the sacred month. And then in really big letters, it says deep love, deep forgiveness, right? Those are things that caught my eye. Now, will I be interested in, a couple of the other articles on here? Maybe not, but so much caught my eye that I thought, you know what, for $6 or $7, whatever this one was, $7, that I'm going to pick this up because for me, a magazine as a busy mom of three, woman entrepreneur, we've got our own business. We continue to grow and evolve. We're constantly creating. I don't always have time to sit down and read that book, but I can pick up and read an article out of here every once in a while of something that catches my attention. Right. And so I urge you to find a way to be able to connect on that level because someone else's story, and this is very important to us when we do readings, does what for them? If somebody's telling us their story or telling a story in our groups, or if we have our release and intentions and someone is talking about themselves, what are they doing for the rest of the group?
Well, you find a piece of yourself in their story sometimes. You find a connection. and you can start to relate that, and you hear their story and it moves us, it's impactful, and it makes us think outside of what our normal, like we might not have thought about that had that person not said that, and then you can actually feel it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Now, my guides are chiming in, which they don't always do on the radio show, but today they're like, hey, we're going to join you guys because this is a very um, high vibrational topic because it's all out of love and light and for the highest and best. And they're like, what if somebody just does not have time to read? And I mean, I get that. I really do. Then the alternate side of it, and that's why there's two options, on some of these days, there'll be two options because you just may not have time to get to Barnes and Noble and Peru. I get that. But guess what? There are other ways to be spiritually connected. So if it's not an article, find somewhere in your area that has some sort of spiritual feeling around it. So we're based out of Oceanside, California, which is, 25 minutes from San Diego. And off the coast in Encinitas is a fabulous meditation garden. And when they finally open back up, we're going to be there. And it's big space. I mean, it's acres on a cliff overlooking the ocean. So you have the waves, you have the sea breeze. You can walk through. They have gigantic koi ponds. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. And they have benches spread out throughout. And people are, for the most part, very respectful of the fact that a lot of us come to just sit and be in that sacred space. I know this is going to sound crazy, but a very sacred place to me and Spiritwalker Nicole is cemeteries. So if you have a cemetery where there's a loved one, right, and you feel connected, and it's funny because more people that we talk about, the more we realize that we aren't like those woohoos that are like, oh, I like to meditate in a cemetery. I like to connect there. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's sacred land. People are praying over those spaces when it's time for their final rest, right? There aren't a bunch of spirits wandering around wondering what's going on. The least, that's the least fun thing for them to do is to hang out where they're at. But I can connect with my loved ones when I'm there, and I can put flowers out for them, and I can be whole and in that space. It's as easy as taking a walk on the beach.
Or and even if you don't have that, I'm
say,
talking to you.
I'm talking to
you, North Dakota. Like if you don't have a beautiful ocean landscape, it's okay. You can make your own. If you just like take a chair out to a tree that you like, or just a space that you like, and sit there, and you could add stuff to it, or just be there. It's all right. Envision yourself at the ocean or in the woods, the mountains, whatever. Like it doesn't have, you don't have to go, but like any place can be a sacred space. That's the best part of this. You can create your own and you can make your own.
And you can also listen. So sometimes we don't have time to get to the store, look at the magazine, find this, we're trying to get you to disengage from electronics, right? So I don't want you on your phone. Like because then all of a sudden you see this text comes up and this ding's over here and blah, 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 blah. You can find though some really good guided meditations for connecting with your spiritual self, which we are actually, there's one out now on our YouTube page about connecting with your sacred self. So you could sit and you could listen to that. You could also listen to an audiobook. So what if it takes you 6 weeks to get through it? You could find that sacred time every Tuesday at 10 o'clock or whatever is on your calendar, right? And you could sit down and listen to a half an hour of that book just to connect. Same concept, same principle. So we want you guys to follow us on our website at www.shadesofspirit.com. We're going to have more tips on our blog about how else to create that sacred month for you and how you can find tools and how to connect. We're going to go more in depth throughout the blog part of it. And we're really going to be increasing that. Also go to our YouTube and subscribe, Shades of Spirit. That's where our meditations are and our previous shows. You can even go back through some of the shows to connect, which is great. We have a connection with your guardian angel meditation. You could do that on day 10. It's just listen to that or listen to the sacred September meditation as well. And just allow yourself to be present for 10 minutes in that process. That's that connection we're asking for. Not a lot of time has to be spent on that, which I love. If you have the time and you want to, please, by all means, dive in. And if you only have 10 minutes, and even if it's where you're kind of tired at the end of the day and you have to sit in your backyard, which is the most sacred space you've got that's alone for 10 minutes, throw on your headphones and just allow us to take you through that process. All right, you guys, coming up next, we're going to be talking about getting creative and moving on the next 2 days. So we will be right back after these short messages. Hey everybody, Psychic Medium Jamie here.
Spiritwalker Nicole.
I have to tell you, we are really punchy today. Let me tell you, I feel the energy and the coffee has completely kicked in. Part of it is because we actually follow our own advice. So we have been following the 7 days that we have already experienced here in September, right? Because today's September 7th. And with that, we are working on connecting and creating ourselves a space to where we can connect with our sacred self. And for those of you that don't believe that you have a sacred side, you're wrong, right? And I'll tell you you're wrong only because I know from my own experience at even my lowest that I was worth something to someone somewhere, whether it was a physical person or whether it was my spirit team connecting with me. And I knew that I needed to come out of that energy hell, bring myself up and reconnect with that sacred side of who I was. So what better time to do this than around my birthday, where it just brings back that energy of like, okay, we were born into this world to learn again all those human traits, to ascend spiritually when we go back. And I'm going to do that for the month of my birthday so that I can reconnect with my higher self, with my sacred self.
We all have a story.
Yep.
And we've all made mistakes and bad calls and slipped up here and there, but we've also done amazing things and we all have achievements. And sometimes in our hardest times, it's hard to remember the good things that we've done, the nice things that we've done for other people, the impacts that we make each and every day. And when you get kind of stuck in that slump of, things are going wrong, I really messed up, sometimes your sacred self is the one that can save you. And that's why it's important to learn about it, honor it, and bring it out so you can develop it. And so when you really need it, it will be there.
Absolutely. So for day 11, folks, and this is a day where a lot of us step back, right? September 11th. There is a year that doesn't go by that we don't all stop and think, connect. So the first thing on this is I urge you to just stop in that place of oneness and send love and light out to all those families and all those first responders and all those people that were affected by 9/11. Not just here, but worldwide, right? That shook the world. And so creating that sacred space is also about us being able to give back. And it doesn't have to be money. It can just be a simple thought of, I send you love and light for your highest and best.
Remembrance. Remembrance. Just remember.
And so that right there is where I want you to connect and just take that moment and allow yourself to remember. Where were you? I mean, I know where I was. You know where you were.
Absolutely.
Right? And to continue to elevate that energy of that day. And to be able to send, we can universally, and we learn this through Reiki training. We just can send that universal energy out to any and all who need it. And that's not infringing on anyone's free will. And so I want you to just take a moment with your cup of coffee or your tea, or at the end of the day, you get up and you have a busy day and you look at the date. And I want you just to close your eyes and send out that love and light and peace to those affected through 9/11, to any and all who wish to receive that energy from you. And that's going to help continue our own healing process, right? And it also will get filtered out to whoever needs it. And that's the joy of energy work, is to be able to share that experience with them, even though you don't know them, or you could be thousands of miles away from them. So for today, for day 11, it's about remembrance. It's about sending that loving energy out. And you can do that at any time. It doesn't have to just be on 9/11. If you have a loved one or a family member who's ill, if you have somebody that's going through a very hard time personally, right? It could be your kids or your spouse in the next room. Time and space doesn't matter when we're sending energy out like that. So send that energy out whenever you can, whenever you think about it. When I do my own release and intentions, and we teach that, it's about letting go of energy and then burning that energy or shredding it up and then putting it back into Mother Earth. And what I do is I ask her to transmute that energy back to love and light, because what I'm releasing more than likely isn't coming from a love and light space. And I'm asking Mother Earth to transmute that energy into love and light. And I ask the universe to come take it and distribute it to any and all who need it. And it's that full circle. And that's very important with energy, is that exchange, that full circle exchange, right? And being able to be in that moment. And so that's why, we just bring it down a notch, because we have to remember that part of our sacred self isn't always going to be a vibration of pure bliss, enlightenment, joy, peace. Sometimes within that period of time, there's going to be something that brings our energy back down to a place of sadness, for some anger, and being able to connect again, feeling it, expressing it, but turning that energy around is important in any situation, and sending that love and light back out. And that even goes for people, that have had situations of severe trauma.
Yeah. But when you get to that spot of remembrance and maybe you remember all those thoughts and emotions, it can take you to a place of, hug your kid a little tighter, reach out to that friend that you haven't talked to in a while, call somebody that, I don't know, that's just is on your mind, because it just takes you back to what's important. And it's not always, let's, argue about politics and, oh, this is going on and they want me to do this. How about you just connect with somebody you love?
Absolutely. So that's for day 11. It's just having that remembrance moment, that quiet space, and sending it, if you will, out to the universe, and allow the universe to take care of that energy and make sure that it goes to the people that need it. It could very well be, I know for some times I've had my kids and like we've been grocery shopping on the 11th, and there'll be firefighters shopping. And I've actually watched people go up at the day that we could shake hands, and thank them for what they're doing. And that still touches me to a core level, because it shows my children still that they may not have remembered or been around during the time of that, but it's honoring those that are putting their lives on the line for us as well. And those firefighters were so grateful. You could just tell that they were being honored as well, because they carry those memories of those fallen as well. That's what that moment is about. So that's where we're going to go with day 11. Now, day 12, I want you to get up and get out. Whew. Okay. I want you to come out of that energy, that energy that you feel, right? And allow yourself to feel it. That's the biggest part. Allow yourself to feel that energy, but then change it by the end of the day and send that love and light out. But then on the 12th, I want you to get up and move. So what are some different ways that we can do that where we're still connecting with our sacred self?
It's probably one of the easiest tasks yet, because it can be done in so many different ways. You can get up, take that walk. And, if you're not able to do that, turn that music on and, I don't know, whatever, just get moving. It doesn't have to be for a long period of time. It can just be for, a minute or two, but just, dance like nobody's watching. What is that phrase? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I've been waiting to do this all day. Yes. Woo.
it's not the 12th yet. Calm down.
Oh. All right.
But just move, get out, try to get outside if you can, and just move around, start feeling like, just feel the sensation of movement, and it raises your vibration. And I like to do it with music, usually blasting out of my headphones. But because it connects there's a connection there with your movement and the music and high energy that just makes you feel good.
And if you can't move, some people have had a broken foot for months. What else can we do, right? Because then we get kind of stuck. Like, okay, somebody's over here going, okay, good move. Well, I've had surgery or I can't move. What are other ways that we can still incorporate that energy in? Remember the client we talked to, and she had some issues like with her knees or something. So she couldn't, like, she wanted to swim. And so she was going to do some swimming to get moving, which is great. But it's also very hot where she lives. So primetime swimming isn't always the easiest, and she works. So the one thing that we told her to look into was chair yoga, right? there are ways that we can move our bodies, even if we are, have restraints to where we can't actually physically stand and do it or stand for very long. So always check with your doctor when it comes down to the exercising part of it and, what works for you. But there's so many different things on YouTube and that you can Google of exercises and stuff that you can do. And it can be simple neck stretches, right? And just feeling. Now, for me, that hurts like heck, guys. I'm not going to lie. But that's because I haven't been moving a lot. And that tells me that my body is holding this energy up here. So if I can just start releasing my shoulders and consciously be aware of my physical body, then I'm going to know that I am in a space where I'm disconnected and it's time to regroup that energy as well. You can also do simple stretches like flexing and pointing your toes, right? If that's something that you can do with your body, but it's bringing you aware to your space. Now, for me, I go about the day and I don't really notice that pain till the evening. But if I do that now, I'm like, oh crap, I need to I need to get rid of this right now because I've been holding on to this energy. So it's about moving that. I know I had knee surgery and it took me twice as long to heal a few years ago. And the biggest part I missed was being able to move. And when I ended up going to physical therapy, they were able to give me exercises and stuff that I had no training on to be able to do where I was laying on the floor and doing stretching, doing upper body stuff, being able to be back in contact and be back in alignment with my physical body felt so good after that time.
And it's also like my meditators out there, you'll connect with this is when you're coming out of a really deep or really good meditation, a guided one, you most of the time you'll hear the people say, okay, start to wiggle your fingers and toes and start becoming aware. And there's something to that because we're off la la la, and then it's like, oh, we have to come back, and it's just like bringing that energy consciousness back into your body and just moving it to become aware.
Absolutely. So, coming up for our segment 4, which is day 13 and 14, are two of my absolute favorite topics: boundaries and that gut check for intuition. So, stay tuned, you guys. We will be back in just a few. Welcome back, everybody. Psychic medium Jamie here.
Spiritwalker Nicole.
One of these days, maybe we could switch roles. I'll be Spiritwalker Nicole. You could be Psychic medium Jamie.
That's big shoes to fill, ma'am. Big shoes.
Oh. So we are talking.
For you.
I see where this went. Yeah. It may just be the Jamie show next week, guys. Who knows? But today we're talking about connecting with your sacred self. We're doing the 30 days to your sacred self. And it's about really just uniting your mind, body, and spirit. It's about connecting with your spirit team. It's about connecting with source, family, friends, and loved ones who have not only passed, but are here, the people present in your life. Now, these two topics for me go hand in hand, right? And the first one is a big, big one for me. And I thought about doing this topic in the first 7 days, except I wanted you guys to start getting settled in. And now we're about at the halfway mark, right? Day 13 and 14. And it's about boundaries. I would say we've all encountered those people that really test our boundaries, test our limits, want to see how far they can push us before we just lose it, right? It can also be, I have boundaries when I go out in public as an empath. We're all empathic, but some of us feel it more. So I'll create boundaries, energy boundaries for me. So it's not just about boundaries with people, though I say that, start there. But also before I walk out the door, I'm asking my spirit team to come in and create that invisible shield around me, right? I know it's there, but I also make a point to say, I'm okay with feeling other people's energies around, right? Because that's how we work, that's how that gut intuition works, is that we have to be able to feel the energy. But I will not take their energy on, and they're not allowed to take mine on. Boundaries for people.
That's a big one. That's a big one because a lot of us are people pleasers and fixers, and we want to help and we want to make sure everybody's happy, but always at the expense of ourselves. And when you do that, some people just don't know. Like you give them an inch, they take a mile. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think it's because they're bad people. They just don't have boundaries themselves. And They don't understand. And so that's why it's so important to set the rules and set what's acceptable, what's not, and stick to it. And don't, you can't feel bad. Saying no is okay. And that's a big thing for my clients that I'll get is it's okay to say no. And they're like, okay, but there's no buts. Can you do this? They say, no, not if I don't sacrifice my entire whatever. And that's ridiculous. So you have to learn how to say no. You have to learn how to put yourself first. That way you can be the best version of yourself for everybody if they need things within reason.
That's huge. And, when we do a lot of coaching sessions, so we do a lot of not just readings of your past loved ones or connecting with your spirit team, but we do a lot of directional readings, spiritual counseling, if you will, or spiritual coaching, and working off our intuition, working off communicating with our spirit guides and our clients' guides, which gives us that insight to help them on the direction. But when we start to not have those boundaries, we start to lose a sense of self. And it's reeling that back in. So it's cutting the energy cords, is how we describe it, from that person. So if you have a sister, a mother, a draining good friend, a neighbor who's always over, right? And you're like, oh, well, I cannot handle Bob today. Like his energy is just not in my space. We're residing here. But when we have those people down here, what we end up doing is bringing our energy down. I know you guys have heard us talk about this on previous shows, but it's so important to understand and grasp that concept. So now we've met them down here, and now they're sucking and siphoning off our energy, right? Kind of like an energy vampire. A lot of times, like she said, they're not doing it consciously. But then it takes us twice as long and twice as hard at times to bring ourselves back up to where we were because we're so drained. But some of these people we can't just cut out of our lives, but we can disconnect from their energy, and we can make it very clear with spirit that they cannot take our energy and nor can we take theirs, and keep our vibration high. And if they wish to join us up here, great. And if not, and you still need to have lunch with your sister, you set the boundaries.
Yeah, just set them up and have that escape plan, if you will, or something. But don't feel bad about it because you're taking care of yourself. And you don't have to be a jerk to do it. Like there's smart and easy ways to go about setting up your boundaries and saying no to people in a polite way. You don't have, yeah, and that's the thing. People are like, well, they're going to think badly of me. No, they won't. If you do it correctly, they'll see and it's fine. It will be okay.
It will be okay. So, hey, Nicole, I've got an appointment and I'm only going to be able to do lunch for an hour and a half today. Um, Hope that works for you. Oh, it does. Okay, good. And then I'm going to get to lunch and I'm going to get my phone on I'm going to have to set my phone because, I know how we get lost in our chattering. And my phone goes off. Now, if you're in a space where you're like, okay, I could do another half an hour. She's pretty good today. I feel like we're pretty even. Um, you know, okay, I've got a little bit extra time. Let's finish this conversation. Or if you're just at that point where you just need to run for your life, throw the $20 at Nicole. Oh, hi, gotta go. My timer went off. That's just to remind me. It gives us a way of having that kind of out without us feeling guilty for hurting someone's feelings along those lines as well. So find what works for you. Because on day 14, it's about checking in with your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite topics,
Yep.
that gut check. So for those of you that are interested in energy work, we have a solar plexus here. And that solar plexus, that's where we have our intuition. So the butterflies that we feel in our stomach, or that sense of like doom that like drops in if you're in a space or you walk by someone or whatever it might be, to where you're not feeling good energy from them. Other ways we can check in with our intuition.
Just start listening to it is the main thing. Don't dismiss those feelings. You guys, I'm sure have had that where you got that I don't know, the hairs on the back. Yeah, probably shouldn't go there, but then you didn't want to disappoint somebody because you didn't set up your boundaries, and then you go and it's a complete disaster, right? Because you should have listened. So to for this day, really check in when people tell you things. Check it, gut check it. Does that resonate with me? What do I really think about that? Because this is a skill. Even if you practice it for this day, I have a feeling that you guys are going to really start using it every day in everything you do, because your intuition is not going to fail you. And then it'll help you. Like and good developed sense of intuition can change your life, because then you start trusting yourself. And then it's easier to set up those boundaries because like, oh, and it just sort of intermingles with everything else that you're doing on a daily basis. And but it's a really good thing to have.
I realized a while ago that my intuition has probably taken me out of situations that may not have ended so well, either for me or someone around me, right? So you might hear people talk about you gotta always trust that gut. So if you go right on a regular basis, and all of a sudden you're like, today I'm going to go left, there's a reason why we're not going right. We're trusting that. If we have a situation to where you're walking down the street and you start to see someone coming towards you and you're not sure about that energy coming towards you, and you cross the street and you continue on, and later on you find that there was a robbery or somebody was attacked down an alley of that street around the time that you were on it, that is your intuition. Our intuition plugs in with our spirit team. That's one way that they communicate and they get signs to us. I know for me, when I've had times where I have just not felt great, and it's always within my stomach area. So I have had stomach flare ups off and on a lot of my life. And if I don't go somewhere or to a party or get on, that boat or whatever it might have been, something not drastic, but something has happened to where I avoided that situation because I listened to my gut.
Mm-hmm. It's a gift. It's a gift, and it certainly can be strengthened. And it's like a muscle, you flex it, you work it out every day. It gets better and better. And pretty soon you're going to be like, am I psychic? Because
yes, you are, because we all have these
we
gifts.
do.
Yep.
But it'll be amazing.
All right, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in to days 17 to 14.
Nope. You said 17 to 14.
Oh, 17. No, that's not right at all. Days 7 to 14 on our 30 days to connecting with your sacred self. Next week, we're going to be talking about more ideas. We're going to give you more ways that we can stay connected. Check us out on our website at shadesofspirit.com or our Facebook and Instagram at Shades of Spirit LLC. We're going to have more tips on our blog on our website as well on how to stay connected. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next week. Have a great Labor Day. Thank you.